Good evening. Don't know if anyone's watching. No one's chimed up in chat yet, so I might just be waffling on to myself. So until YouTube decides to tell me that, it has told me there's a little 3 next to the eyeball symbol, which means there are 3 people paying attention to the nonsense that I spout. Hope you're doing well. Say hello if you're here. As you can see, look, not often you see me in a shirt. It's been an award ceremony tonight at the Daughters Football Club, and we were quite surprised because she's won some things. We knew she'd get a championship winning medal for her main team, but because she played several games for the firsts, she got the championship winning medal because they won their division as well. And she also won Most Improved Player, which was odd because she was one of the better players in the team for the last 3 or 4 years. But they decided to give it to her because she's changed position. So it's the equivalent. I mean, you're mostly American, so it's equivalent, for example, of a player being the starting middle linebacker for 3 or 4 years and moving to quarterback, and being as good, if not better, at quarterback than they were at middle linebacker. So that's what effectively she's done. So she got Most Improved Player as well, which is marvelous. So yep, into the big leagues next year. Into the big leagues. It's gonna be tough. Lots of traveling involved. Some tough opponents, and it's gonna be interesting. Let's see if the girls can cope, because they've been playing the game at a whole new level. Their league was rubbish this year, to be honest. There were 2 or 3 teams that were competitive, and next year won't be the same. It won't be the same. Next year's going to be brutal because they've moved up. My grasp of American football. I've been a fan of American football since 1989. I played it at university. So yeah, I know a little bit about the. I'm not an expert at the game, but I did play it played it as a junior at the Birmingham Bulls for 2 years. Didn't really get into the team, and then I played for the Leeds University team for 3 seasons. Again, I wasn't a standout player by any stretch of the imagination, but had fun. It was a good laugh. Enjoyed it. Because I was a rugby player at school as well. I'm terrible at football, but I'm short and robust, and I was fairly quick. Throw me the ball and I'll drop it. I no idea what to do with it when the ball's in my hands. But put the ball in my hands or put somebody in front of me, and I'll just plow into anybody. There's no brain in there. So I was all right. I was never a standout at rugby either. But I did play for the school second team. I was never good enough for the first team. Yeah. I like both playing and watching, though I prefer to play, or I really enjoy going to watch my kids play football, because I was terrible at football. And they're better than I've ever been. I used to love taking them to judo competitions. That was great. That was nerve-wracking. It was even more nerve-wracking than me fighting at the tournaments as well. But anyhow, shall we? She's Faith Keefe. She's semi-professional. For her team, which this year was called the development team because it's for the younger players, because she's 18. Next season it'll officially be called the reserves. They don't get paid in that one, but every time they get picked for the first team, they get paid to play if the team win. So she's been paid twice this year by the first team. So does that count as being professional? It's not a contract. It's not an ongoing contract. It's just like you do sign a contract, but you get paid if the team win and you pick to play. So which is nice. It's not a lot of money. Basically covers fuel to and from training for a month. But you can't, beggars can't be choosers. Right. We have 7 people watching. 7 people watching. And it's been 2 weeks since we last played. We played that, didn't we? Games Expo last weekend on the Friday. I met the author. I didn't know he was the author until I actually said, "Are you Jonathan Green?" And he said, "Yes." But I was telling him about reading it out on the stream, and he absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. And that reminds me, I told him I would tag him in a Twitter post that this is happening tonight, and I completely forgot. Balls. I've got an excuse. I've been out. So anyway, maybe next week. But he's really happy that we play it online. Kick him in the nuts, indeed, Hungar. Kick him in the nuts. Hoof them in the kahunas. Bash him in the balls. Right. Do you remember what we did last time in this book? Lunchtime? Lunchtime was hours ago. Lunchtime for me was 10 hours ago. Yeah. Pardon me. But yeah, I have some beer. I had a beer at the ceremony. Because I was driving, I had 1 beer and thought, in the nuts indeed. Okay. Is it a knee to the nuts? A knee to the nuts. Got to alliterate it, haven't we? I had a beer at the ceremony, but because I was driving, I limited myself to 1. But on the way home, I did stop at the beer shop and get a few more. Hello, Iman. Remember we said last time I couldn't find PDFs of this book either. I'm afraid I was looking around for PDFs of it, and I couldn't find any. There was there's a digital version, but you have to play it on a digital reader thing, which I haven't got. So I couldn't find a PDF, I'm afraid. So you're stuck with me doing the accents. 9 people watching. Right. Shall we get started? Hungar already wants to knee them in the nuts. You finish your dinner. You enjoy your dinner. I got home from work thinking, nice hot dinner, only to find out that there was a buffet at the ceremony tonight, and they didn't open the buffet till 8 o'clock. I was absolutely starving. And yeah, a cold buffet is nice, but I wanted a hot dinner. Didn't get one. Didn't have time to make one either. Anyway, I had sausage rolls, bargies, chicken nuggets, bit of salad, some crisps. Nothing healthy, I'm afraid. I've got here that we're going to start from 533. Probably the headbutt in the nuts is it isn't alliterative. I was trying to think how you'd say a headbutt in something beginning with H. At least a knee to the nuts, K, knee, but at least it sounds alliterative. So a bash to the ball bags. A kick in the kahunas. So, shall we begin? We're at 533. So, yeah, the Count had refused to let us leave. You may go anywhere you wish within the castle, except where the doors are locked, where, of course, you will not wish to go, the Count says gravely. There is reason that all things are as they are. We are in Transylvania, and Transylvania is not England. Our ways are not your ways, and there shall be to you many strange things. From what you have told me of your experiences already, you know something of what strange things there may be. Right. It says here, if we have the word Langok ticked off, we haven't discovered the word Langok, so we've got to turn to 654. All these code words you find all the way through as you learn the lore. Come, the Count says, tell me of London and of the houses you have procured for me over there. And so you pore over the plans, deeds, and other paperwork you brought with you, all the way from Exeter, concerning the Count's new properties in Piccadilly, Walworth, and Mile End, and the jewel in the crown, his own English estate. The estate is called Carfax, you explain. It contains some 20 acres in all, and is surrounded by a high stone wall. There are a great many trees, which make it gloomy in places, and there is a small lake fed by subterranean springs, the water flowing away in a fair-sized stream. The house itself is very large and of all periods, and dates back to medieval times. One part is of immensely thick stone, with only a few windows high up and heavily barred with iron. It looks like part of a keep and is close to an old chapel. You set up the portable lithograph projector you have carried with you all the way from England, and much to the Count's delight, project views of the house onto a bare stone wall, which you took with your Kodak. Very few other properties close at hand, you go on. One being a very large house, only recently converted into a private lunatic asylum. I should point out, however, that the asylum is not visible from the grounds. I am glad this Carfax is old and big, the Count says when you are finished. I myself am of an old family, and to live in a new house would kill me. I rejoice also that there is a chapel of old times. We Transylvanian nobles love not to think that our bones may lie amongst the common dead. Moreover, I love the shade and the shadow, and would be alone with my thoughts when I may. Perhaps it is the light cast by the flickering lamps in the room, but his smile seems to you malignant and somehow saturnine. After Count Dracula has put his signature to the necessary legal documents, he makes his excuses and leaves. You pull together your papers and write a letter to accompany them, finally preparing everything to post to Mr. Hawkins back in Exeter. As you are putting your papers together, you notice an atlas lying on a table. First choice then, chat. Shall we take a look at the atlas? Yes or no? Cheers. So yes or no? Look at the atlas. Be rude not to, indeed. Hello, Derek. I haven't gone through saying my hellos to everybody in chat yet. So we've got Daniel, we've got Derek, we've got Straw Piglet, we've got Manfred, Hungar, and Thief Keef, and anybody I've missed out. Anybody I've missed out? If I've missed you out, I do apologize. Okay, thank you, Manfred. I've still got an atlas down by the side of me desk. Some old school. Hello, Doof. How you doing? Right, so yeah, we're looking at the atlas, aren't we? 681. 684, so whoops. I can't read. I've had 1 1/3 pints of beer, and I already can't read. The book falls open naturally at a map of England, as if that page has been much studied. Looking at it, you find in certain places little rings have been marked, and on closer inspection you notice that one lies near to Purfleet, to the east of London, where the Count's new estate lies. The other two locations marked in this way are your hometown of Exeter and Whitby on the North Yorkshire coast. Tick off the word Turkep. Okay, Turkep. Romanian for something. Hello, Andrew. You're welcome to be in stealth mode. Just as long as you don't use stealth as a verb, I'm fine. The door opens and Count Dracula returns unexpectedly. Still at your books? Before you can reply, he says, Come, I am informed that your supper is ready. An excellent meal awaits you in the next room, laid out on the table. The Count excuses himself, explaining that he has already dined out. Regained 2 endurance points, except we can't, we're at maximum already. The two of you talk late into the night until all at once you hear a cock crow and the Count jumps to his feet, saying, Why, there is the morning again. How remiss I am to let you stay up so long. And with a courtly bow, he quickly leaves you. I wonder why he's going to bed in the morning. Oh, I wonder what he might be. You only sleep a few hours, and feeling that you cannot sleep any longer, you get up. You hang up your shaving glass by the window and are just beginning to shave when an inexplicable shiver passes through you, as if someone just stepped over your grave. Take an ESP test. Right. We have an ESP score of 7. ESP is not this character's forte. So 2 dice, 7 or lower on 2d6. I've rolled 6. So yeah, we passed it. Passed the test, turned to 804. Hope you're going to get some proper decisions coming away soon, because there's a lot of moving around from chapter to chapter without many decisions that we're finding at the moment. You turn to see the Count enter your chamber. Good morning, he says, bowing courteously. Turning back to your shaving mirror, you see the whole room displayed behind you, but there is no sign of anyone in it other than yourself. The Count is close to you, just over your shoulder, but there is no reflection of him in the mirror. Add 1 point to our terror score. And tick off the word to go. If anybody's... Thank you, Derek. Derek looking up Turkep means map. Worth knowing for subsequent pub quizzes. Indeed. If there is a round on the Romanian language, then I suggest not going back to that pub. All right, to go. Seeing a horrified reaction, the Count hisses and seizes the shaving glass. This is the wretched thing that has done the mischief. It is a foul bauble of a man's vanity. Away with it! We've made him angry by having a shave, spotting that he's not human. Ha ha. Oh, another big long reading thing. I'm not going to ask any Romanian questions, guarantee you that. So you don't need to swat up on Romanian for Sunday night, Derek. There you are. I'll let you into something there. So hopefully we'll have some short things to read and more choices to make, but it's another long one. Opening the window with one wrench of his terrible hand, your host flings the mirror out of it. You hear the glass smash into 1,000 pieces on the stones of the courtyard far below. With that, the Count leaves again without uttering another word. When you go into the dining room, the Count is not there. He is not out on the stairs either, but having ventured beyond the suite of rooms, you decide to explore further. You soon stumble upon a room that faces towards the south. The view is magnificent, for the castle is on the very edge of a terrific precipice. A stone falling from the window would fall 1,000 feet without touching anything. As far as the eye can see is a sea of green treetops, with occasionally a deep rift where there is a chasm. Here and there are silver threads where the rivers wind in deep gorges through the forest. Sounds a bit like Ravenloft, Barovia. I wonder why. Exploring further, you find doors. Doors everywhere, but all locked and bolted. Only the windows in the castle wall seem to offer any available exit. The place is a veritable prison, and you are its prisoner. You find yourself thinking things that you dare not confess to your own soul. Among them, that you are the only living soul within Castle Dracula. One thing is certain, the Count is the one who has made you a prisoner, and he alone is master of the secrets of this place, so you must keep your knowledge and your fears to yourself, for you will need your wits about you if you are to come through the other side of this ordeal. You have hardly come to this conclusion when you hear the great door below shut, and suspect that the Count has returned. Hurriedly returning to your rooms, you are joined not long after by Count Dracula. In an effort to hide your suspicions from him, and with a mind to finding out all you can that might help you effect an escape from your prison, you engage him on the subject of Transylvanian history, which he warms to wonderfully. He speaks of battles, in particular, striding about the room and acting out moments of pivotal action as if they'd been present at them all, explaining that to a boyar like himself, the pride of his house and name is his own pride. Their glory is his glory, and their fate his fate. And we, Sekelis, have the right to be proud, he exclaims, for in our veins flows the blood of many brave races who fought for the lordship of these lands. Is it a wonder that we were a conquering race, when in our veins runs the blood of Attila the Great? That when the Magyar, the Lombard, the Avar, the Bulgar, or the Turk poured in their thousands upon our borders, we drove them back. And when shame fell upon my nation, when the flags of Wallach and the Magyar were trampled beneath the crescent, who was it but one of my own race, who as voivod crossed the Danube and beat the Turk on his own ground? Mr. Harker, the Sekelis and the Draculas, as their hearts, blood, their brains, and their swords, can boast a record that upstart mushroom growths such as the Habsburgs and the Romanovs can never reach. But those warlock days are over, and blood is too precious a thing in these days of dishonourable peace. The glories of the great races are now just a tale that is told. The Count turns his gaze to a great crest in the shape of an ornamental shield, bearing the bas-relief of a mighty dragon, its wings and tail curled about it, carved into the stonework above the mantelpiece. Here you have a choice, chat. Do you wish to ask him about the significance of this crest, or would you rather not ask him about it? Just stay silent. Up to you. Ask him or stay silent. Charles. I knew you'd say ask. I mean, apart from Derek. Derek's in the minority. Hello, Palmetto Exile. How are you doing? The silent minority indeed, Straw Piglet. Is it the later start? So you usually get 15, maybe 20 people in on a Friday night? Later start, of the fact that I missed last week? But I did 11 at the moment. 11's still good, though. Odd numbers are good when it comes to voting. So we're asking him then. Okay. Turn to 831. It is the insignia of the Order of the Dragon, your host explains, a noble chivalric brotherhood of knights whose initiates vowed to defend the cross and fight the enemies of Christianity, the Turks and the Ottoman Empire in particular. Tick off the word Sarkani, all these Romanian words. Derek, get your Romanian dictionary out. Turn to 861. But enough of the past, says the Count. Let us focus our thoughts on future prosperity and the preparations for my forthcoming journey to English shores. I think he may have been a Christian in a past life. I wish you to write to our mutual friend, Mr. Hawkins, he says, laying a heavy hand on your shoulder, and to any other you wish, saying that you shall stay with me until a month from now. Do you wish me to stay so long, you ask, and your heart grows cold at the thought. I desire it very much. You will rest here with me for a while, so that I may learn more of your English ways. So, will you agree to his wishes, or will you tell him that you have business in England that will not wait? So, agree, or say you want to leave. Those are your choices, chat. Not cooking yet, Daniel. Not dinner time just yet. Do you know what character you're playing tomorrow, Daniel? Any ideas? OSE game tomorrow. Space is open for anyone who wants to join. Gingerbeard's running the game in the afternoon, starting at 2 p.m. UK time, which I believe is 8 or 9 a.m. for most of the American people on my server or Canadian people on my server. My session starts at 7 p.m. my time, which is probably an easier time for people in America. Certainly if you're on the west coast of America, it's certainly a lot easier. So 3 want to leave, where only Straw Piglet saying, I'd love to stay. Yeah, I can go on Discord a little bit after the stream. Hungar, haven't you got a link to the Discord? Okay. Let me find a link to my Discord. Just bear with me a moment. I'm just going to YouTube Studio on another tab. Where's the last time I put a link up? It's probably in my Call of Cthulhu scenario. Gotcha. Hello, Bear. You're right. Okay. That's a link to the Discord for anyone who's not in there, because yep, the more the merrier it comes to our OSE games. First level characters still, everyone's really fragile. And if you've got a party of 6 or 7, that's absolutely perfect. We've currently got 4 or 5 for each session. So yeah, no problem at all. Right. Okay. At the moment, we have 3 people saying leave, 1 person saying stay. There's currently 10 people in chat, so I'd like to see a few more votes. Really would like to see a few more votes. Palmetto XR reckons we should say we want to leave. I have a Clash song buzzing around in my head at the moment. And all know which one. What are we voting on? Right, okay. Count Dracula has just told us that he'd like us to stay in his castle for a month. We have an option here of saying, yes, we'll agree to that. Or the other option is to say, no, we have business in England. Currently, Father Jack Boyce, drink. I thought about doing, YouTube does do polls, but every time we have a choice, it's very stop-starty. Getting a poll set up every time, because we were playing fighting fantasy books, and some of those are just single paragraphs with 4 or 5 options at the end of each one. So it would have been very, very slow to do it by means of a YouTube poll every single time. So I just get people voting in chat. Keeps people active. And because the YouTube algorithm likes chat comments. We may well be voting to stay or die. But currently leave is winning the vote. Andrew, you've been outvoted so far. And Straw Piglet, the only other, the stay voters, people are saying, is our name Jack? No, we are Jonathan Harker. Jonathan Harker. So we're going to tell him we want to leave. I don't think this was very clever, but we're role players, and it's what our character would do. Here we go. I will take no refusal, says the Count, brooking no argument. When Mr. Hawkins informed me by letter that someone would come on his behalf, it was understood that my needs only were to be consulted. By the light of the fire burning in the hearth, his eyes appear to glow crimson, as if with flames of their own, and you feel your resolve weaken under his furious gaze. Add 1 to your terror score and gain 2 blood points. Blood points make the vampire stronger. Well, Jack, yeah, it can be short for Jonathan. It is just a Christian name by itself nowadays. So, if I stay, there will be trouble. If I go, there will be double. But you gotta let me know. Should I stay or should I go? I don't think it's as good a song as London Calling. London Calling is superb. Superb. What can you do but agree? I pray you will not discourse of things other than business in your letters, the Count says, handing you 3 sheets of notepaper and 3 envelopes. It will please your friends to know that you are well, and that you are looking forward to getting home to them. Is it not so? He smiles, then his sharp canine teeth lying over the red underlip, and you vow to yourself that you will be careful what you write, for your host will be able to read the letters before sending them. You write 2 letters, 1 to your employer, Mr. Hawkins, and 1 to your beloved fiancée, Mina. The Count himself composes several notes, 1 directed to Samuel F. Billington of Whitby, another to Herr Lautner of the Bulgarian port of Varna, a 3rd to Coutts & Co., the London bankers, and the 4th to Herren Klopstock and de Bilruth, bankers of Budapest. I have no idea whether I pronounced that correctly or not. Herren Klopstock and Bilruth. Adding the missives that you have penned to his pile, the Count rises and says, I trust you will forgive me, but I have much work to do in private this evening. You will, I hope, find all things as you wish. At the door, he stops and turns. Let me warn you, my young friend, that should you leave these rooms, you will not fall asleep in any other part of the castle. It is old and has many memories, and there are bad dreams for those who sleep unwisely. And then he is gone, leaving you wondering whether any dream could be more terrible than the unnatural net of gloom and mystery which you feel is closing in around you. Who's the other one in your top two, Hungar? Thing is, what classes as a punk band? Because American punk is very different to British punk. Over here, it was all really kicked off with the Sex Pistols, though I believe the Damned were the first to have a hit. The Ramones, you see, I know they're classed as punk by the American, but their music is a lot lighter than a lot of British punk bands. You compare it to the Pistols, third favourite punk band, fair enough. I mean, I like a lot of the Ramones stuff I've heard. I tend to like things darker, though. A little bit darker. It's all worth it once he gets to the Suckerby. Yes. I do quite like the Damned. The Clash and the Damned, probably, and Stiff Little Fingers. Do like a little bit of Stiff Little Fingers. You feel that your near nocturnal existence is taking its toll on you. It is destroying your nerve. It has you starting at every shadow, and your mind is full of all sorts of horrible imaginings. God knows that there are grounds for your overwhelming sense of dread in this accursed place. I also forgot, Susie and the Banshees started out as a punk band. Suddenly desiring a breath of fresh air, you throw open a window and fill your lungs with cold night air. You look out over the beautiful expanse of this region, of the Carpathian Mountains. Everything is bathed in soft yellow moonlight. That seems to cause the distant hills to melt into obscurity, and the shadows in the valleys and gorges are velvety darkness. The Damned became a bit of a gothic rock band later on. They were very much punk to begin with. But as you lean from the window, something catches your eye, something that is moving a story below your position. Drawing back behind the weather-worn stonework, you peer out warily. What you glimpsed is the Count's head coming out from a window. But revulsion and terror threaten to overwhelm you when you see the man slowly emerge from the window and begin to crawl down the castle wall head first over the dreadful abyss, with his cloak spreading out around him like great wings. So that the cover from the... Yes, it's the image from the front cover. Okay, we've got to make a terror test. We've got to roll 4 dice and... Oh, I dropped one of them on the floor. Our terror is 13. We've got to roll equal to or more than our terror score. Yes, easily. Easily. 19. So I think we're okay for now. 225. I've got to show you the name of the artist again. Those who were here last time. Yes. Be all childish and chuckle. I should have asked Mr. Green at the expo whether that's the artist's real name. What manner of man is this Count Dracula? Thank you, Hungar. Hope you're well, and hope your body doesn't give up on you again, because I know you've been in hospital again. I don't know if you're in there at the moment, because I think you're out of hospital again, but I haven't kept up with anything this last week. Look after yourself, mate. What manner of man is this Count Dracula? Or what manner of creature in the semblance of a man? At that moment, you determine to do all you can to escape or die trying. You're convinced the Count has left the castle now and decide to use the opportunity to explore more than you have dared to as yet. Taking up a lamp, you descend the stone stairs to the hall. Although you find you can pull back the bolts easily enough and unhook the great chains, the great door is locked and the key gone. It must be in the Count's possession. So instead, you set out upon a thorough examination of the various stairs and passages that interlace the gloomy castle and try all the doors that open from them. One or two small rooms near the hall are open, but there's nothing to see in them except old furniture, dusty with age and moth-eaten. At last, however, you find a door at the top of a stairway, which, though it appears locked, gives under a little pressure. You've entered a wing of the castle, further to the right than the rooms you know, and a story lower down, its tall windows overlooking the great precipice. The castle is built on the corner of a great rock, so that on three sides it is quite impregnable. Great windows were placed here during its construction, where sling or bow or culverin could not reach. To the west is a great valley, and ascending in the distance, great jagged mountain fastnesses, rising peak on peak. The sheer rock studded with mountain ash and thorn, whose roots cling to cracks and crevices in the stone. Exploring this part of the castle, you come to a bend in the passage you are following. There is an iron-studded oak door to your left in the south-facing wall, a chill wind blowing through the cracks between the planks. To your right, the passage continues to a suite of rooms at its end. Shall we try the door on our left, or shall we keep following the passageway to the right? Door on left, passage on right. Left, right. Except that's your left, because I've got it reversed. So, yeah. Door on the left, passage on the right. Up to you, chat. Everyone's thinking of the door at the moment. So far, it's unanimous. 5 votes, all for door. Anybody going to be contrary? If Justin was here, he'd vote right. Excuse me. It's 6 left, so left can't be beaten. Door on the left, 248. The door has become warped by time, and the old wood is now swollen within its stone aperture. If you want to try to force the drafty door open, say so. If not, say so. Shall we try to force the door, yes or no? Yes or no? You got a gift from Hungar? Nice one. What gift has Hungar left for you? The old wood has become swollen. Did he? I didn't notice. It doesn't tell me in StreamYard. Nobody told me. Nobody said. So who else received memberships? Own up. Own up. Thank you, Hungar. I know you've probably gone for food, but if you do, pop back and say hello, then thank you. And I hope the people who received memberships, thank you, as Mage did. I saw Mage. So who received memberships? Piglet, Slan. Slan's lurking, is he? Ah, hello, Slan. Earthbound Misfit also lurking. Hello, Earthbound Misfit. Master Blaster. Okay, excellent, excellent. So you've just outed 3 lurkers. Hello, lurkers. Right, so yes, we are trying to force the door. Righty-ho. Taking a few steps back, mustering all your strength, you charge at the door with your shoulder square on to the iron-studded oak. It tells us now to... oh, I didn't see that, Straw Piglet. I didn't see that. So how far back did he... I didn't see Elfbait's popped in as well. Hello, Elfbait. You must have all been chatting while I was reading. So I've missed quite a few bits and bobs along the way. Okay. Quite a ways back. Well, thank you, Hungar. Right, okay. So take an endurance test. We can't fail it because we are at 24 endurance and it's done on 4d6. So we're okay. We're okay. You make contact with the door and it bangs open to reveal a yawning gulf beyond. Wherever the door led to once upon a time tumbled into the abyss long ago as the castle fell into ruin over the course of the unforgiving centuries. It might have been good to fail that one. Take an agility test. Our agility is 9. And I've rolled 7, which is a pass. If you pass the test, turn to 459. I think we might have tumbled into the abyss if we'd have failed. Ooh. As I'm flicking through, I've seen some interesting art. You manage to grab the door handle and stop yourself from plunging into the abyss. Pulling the door firmly shut again, you keep following the passageway ahead. Turn to 489. So the door wasn't a good idea. Oh well. Ooh, excellent piece of art. I haven't come to that bit yet. So I'm just spotting the art as I flick through. Right, okay. Yellow moonlight floods in through the diamond panes of the curtainless windows, softening the wealth of dust which covers everything, and disguises in some measures the ravages of time and moths. You are glad, you thought, to bring a lamp with you, for there is a dread loneliness about the place that chills your heart and makes your nerves tremble. And that adds another point to our terror score. Descending a short flight of crumbling steps, you find yourself in an octagonal chamber, not unlike the one that separates your bedroom from the dining room in your apartment. 2 doors lead off to left and right, while ahead of you, another short flight of steps leads to what appears to be an opulent chamber bedecked with silken drapes. The door to your left is adorned with a pair of ancient curved swords, their blades pitted and tarnished by time. The door to your right bears the same dragon crest as is carved into the chimney breast above the fireplace in your dining room. And we have a three-way choice here. Left, right, or ignore both doors and descend the steps to the opulent chamber below. So we have left, right, down. Those are your choices, chat. Left door, right door, down steps. Left, right, down. Yes, Mage. Yeah, I'm always happy when characters in my party use up all their spell slots, and I've still held back something nasty. So yes, use up your 5th level spell slot on True Seeing, because that means you can't cast Cloud Kill. Sword steps or down. Hold on, let me go again. Door to your left is adorned with a pair of ancient curved swords. The door to your right bears the same dragon crest as is carved into the chimney breast above the fireplace in your dining room. So, sword door is on the left, dragon door is on the right, and steps down. Them's the choices. Okay, so we have right, left, down. Right, down, left, down, left. Door with the dragon crest is right. Swords is left, left, right. Okay, the votes at the moment are 3 for the right-hand door, 4 for the left-hand door, and 2 for down the steps. Sadly, no, there was not one with wooden stakes on it. Oh, you're an archmage, are you? Ah. In the OSE game, you're not. Ha ha ha. Have I nerfed you? Have I made you too low a level? Anyhow, left door has now won the vote. 672. I was thinking the other day, just popped in my mind. Ace-Eric Mage refers to everyone he talks to on the videos as minions. Most of us who watch those videos will be dungeon masters, be DMs. We can choose whether or not we place a demi-lich in the adventure. We have power over the demi-lich. He's our minion. We're not his minion. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Hello, John. You're a little late on that one. We've already picked. He left us already won. Left us already won. The door is unlocked, and opening it, you step into a room shrouded in darkness. You raise your lamp above your head, and its welcome light is reflected back from 1,000 captured treasures. The room is full of trophies, recovered from battlefields hundreds of years ago. They are mostly the arms and armor of janissaries, like the crossed swords secured to the door, the elite infantry of the Ottoman Turks that Count Dracula told you had invaded his ancestral lands centuries ago. They must have been taken as spoils of war by one of Dracula's ancestors. Well, as they say, to the victor the spoils. A number of items in particular pique your interest. A fanned arrangement of swords, an open box of the kind apothecaries used to carry with them, containing a number of glass bottles, a large chest that has its lid closed, an ornate flask supported on a brass stand. Right, 5 choices now. 5 choices. Analysis paralysis time. Swords, box, chest, flask, or leave. So, swords, this is to take a look at them. Swords, box, chest, or flask, to take a look at any of those, or leave the room. Those are your choices, chat. Yes. If everyone plays Dungeons and Dragons, it's going to be the chest, isn't it? 3 chests straight away. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we go chest, chest, flask, chest, 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 flask, chest, box, box, and 3 chests. Box, box, and 3 more chests. It could be a mimic. Mm-hmm. Nah. Stab the mimic. Take a closer look at the large chest then. The chest has won. 829. Oh, quality art. You're going to look forward to that one. Ho, 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 ho. The chest has won. Finding it unlocked as you lift the heavy lid, the light from your lamp is reflected back at you from what looks like a king's ransom in silver coins. You cannot help but gasp and wonder how much ancient wealth is hidden away within the Count's castle. Picking up one of the coins, you scrutinize it more closely. One side is covered with Arabic calligraphic script, but on the other side is the face of a bearded, hawk-nosed sultan with a turban on his head. Around the edge of the image is what appears to be a name, Sultani Mehmed II. If you want to fill your pockets with antique coins, say so, or shall we leave the treasure hoard untouched? So, steal or not steal? That is the question. Cheers, Thief Keith. I've had no connection wobbles here tonight. That's if chat and video are heavily out of sync, I think that's going to be a YouTube thing, because surprisingly, I've not had any flagging up issues with my connection. I can usually see when I'm wobbling, and no wobbles at my end tonight. So have we got YouTube wobbles? We're leaning towards leaving them alone. If it was D&D, the answer is obvious. 600 coins in a large sack. Run! Leave the dungeon! Good to see that the stream's been fine for most of you. That's nice to see. Okay, so we're going to leave the treasure hoard untouched. Okay, turn to 890. Yeah, for those who don't know, this is like a fighting fantasy book, but with 1,000 entries instead of the usual 400. We've got 3 other characters we can play. Oh, hang on. Right. You slowly become aware of a whispering sound within the room. At first, you think it must be a breeze blowing under a door or through a crack in the wall. But as you listen more intently, you become convinced you can hear words within the susurration. Curiosity getting the better of you, you close in on the source of the sound until you're standing before a table upon which rests a silver stand. Something is clearly resting on the stand, but a dusty silken cloth has been draped over it. Shall we remove the cloth, or shall we leave the cloth alone? Itchy nose. Vampire babes. Sure, Piglet wants to know what's under the cloth. Making a noise. Hear words. Quiet words in the wind. We're all going to die. Okay. Okay. Unanimous towards removing it so far. Maybe it's a talking Vorpal sword. Or maybe it isn't. Okay, 949. We're moving further and further into the book. Ah, yes. A bit of artwork of a decapitated head. Marvellous. Maybe there is a Vorpal sword. Pulling the cloth free, you immediately take a step back, giving your revulsion a voice, as you find yourself face to face with what appears to be a mummified head. The wrinkled grey-green flesh is as dry as a desert tomb, and the eyes have dried up and turned into dust long ago. The straggly hairs of a beard still cover the sunken hollows of its cheeks and the bony point of its chin, while the top of its head is covered by an ancient turban. And then you hear the whispering again and realize it is issuing from between the dead man's dried up lips. Take a terror test. 4 dice. We've got to roll equal to or more than 14. I'm just going to check the rules on terror tests. Terror tests. Equal to or greater than the terror score. Yep. Okay. What do we need to get? 14. I've rolled 1, 5, 5, 4. 15. Pass the test. Turn to 99. Oh, a little image. There we go. Your heart pounding inside your chest, you nonetheless stand your ground and listen intently to the head's whispered utterances, while your ears hear the guttural desert tongue of Arabia. Inside your head, you hear the words spoken in the Queen's English. Beware, for the accursed lord of this place is a ghoul, a demon who drinks the blood of the living to sustain his own life after death. You have heard enough. Your pulse pounding in your ears, you back out of the room, closing the door firmly behind you. You wonder what other impossible secrets the castle hides within its walls. Add 1 point to our terror score, but deduct a blood point. No, we can't take it with us, and there isn't an option to whimper and hide in the corner, sadly. And we turn to 59. You move as if in a trance, your footsteps carrying you down the flight of steps and enter the opulently adorned chamber. Stopping at the bottom, you take in your surroundings by the lamp held in your hand. So you didn't have the option to open the other door then? Unfortunately not. Railroad. This was evidently the portion of the castle occupied by the ladies in bygone days, for the furniture has more of an air of comfort than any you have seen so far. Before you, beneath a canopy like that of some battlefield pitched pavilion, are strewn all manner of rugs and dust-covered cushions, couches and divans. We've found a vampire harem by the looks of things, while silken drapes hang like cobwebs from the ceiling. The sense of sleep is upon you, and the obstinacy that comes with it, and you determine to sleep here, where, of old, ladies sat and sang, and lived sweet lives, while their gentle breasts were sad for their menfolk away in the midst of remorseless wars. Soft moonlight streams through the diamond panes of a great window, soothing you and only feeding your desire to lay down and turn the tables on your nocturnal existence. And so you lie down upon one of the great couches and take an ESP test. Mage, you've woken up to a heart. Right, Mage, you are a goodly old man. Unless you are the hyphen, in which case you are despicable. ESP test. Dice are with us tonight. That's a 5. ESP 7. That's good. Pass the test. Turn to 200. Oh. Oh. Just as you're on the verge of giving to sleep entirely, the Count's warning comes to mind again. Let me warn you, my young friend, that should you leave these rooms, you will not fall asleep in any other part of the castle. It is old and has many memories, and there are bad dreams for those who sleep unwisely. As you struggle to rouse yourself from the unnatural lethargy that has beset your body, you realize you are not alone. In front of you, illuminated by the moonlight, are 3 young women. Ladies you judge by their dress and manner, but they cast no shadow, and on the floor you can see only your own footsteps have disturbed the long accumulation of dust. 2 are dark and of high aquiline noses like the Count, and great dark piercing eyes that glow like red-hot coals. The other is fair, with great masses of golden hair and eyes like pale sapphires. All 3 have brilliant white teeth that shine like pearls against the ruby of their voluptuous lips. All 3 advance towards you with slow, graceful steps, smiling seductively, the tips of their tongues playing over their exposed teeth and plump lips. The moonlight shining through the window behind them makes their diaphanous robes translucent, revealing their shapely bodies underneath. Hello, ladies. Take a combat test. Okay, our combat is 8. Keep rolling low, dice. Keep rolling low. Yes, 4. Pass the test, turn to 90. The dice will turn on us at some point. They're bound to. Hubba hubba indeed. Crucifix? Yes, we have a golden crucifix. Despite their unearthly, ethereal beauty, there is something about the women that makes you feel uneasy. You feel a deep longing swelling within you, but at the same time, a nerve-shredding fear. Turn to 228. Now, fully alert, you watch as before your very eyes, the women's features appear to shift and change like melting wax, their bodies changing also, and you see them as they really are. One appears to have taken on the aspect of a snake, her jaw dislocating as it hinges unnaturally wide, with thick serpentine coils where her legs were before. A tearing sound accompanies the transformation of another of the creatures, as great bat-like wings unfold from behind her back, while the fair-haired beauty is revealed to be little more than an animated corpse, a skull-like visage ruddy with gore. The unnatural women stalk, crawl, and slither towards you. Yes. Yuan Ti, indeed. Take a terror test. Okay. 15 or higher on 4 dice. No, no. It's a failure. It's a failure. The dice rolled 1, 1, 2, 3. So that's 7. That's a really bad failure. 299. You want to run, but where before you were incapacitated by pleasure, now your body is paralyzed by fear. Just a Saturday night in Coventry. I didn't know you were from round this way, Andrew. The unnatural monsters fall upon you, opening fresh wounds upon your arms and legs and gorging themselves on the lifeblood that pours from them. Lose 6 endurance points. Ow. If you are still alive, yes, you come to your senses at last and struggle to fight your way free of the horrors. Okay. We have an option here to employ the pen is mightier. If you were here the first time I streamed this, we can use this 3 times during the book. We've used it once so far. It allows us to sort of use author's fiat to escape. So plenty of nights out in Coventry then. Shall we use the pen is mightier or shall we not? Yes or no? Coventry is only good for 2 things. It has an excellent judo club and it was home to the specials. Straw piglet. Yeah. Jeb doesn't want to use the pen is mightier. 3 people saying yes. Jeb and Palmetto saying no. I think we're probably a third of the way into it. We haven't used any of the other characters yet, so don't know. It's up to you. Okay. We are now leaning towards no. 4 no's, 3 yeses so far. Do the other characters get new pens? Shall I just take a quick check? Because it's 2 weeks since I read these rules. So, pen is mightier. Whereabouts do we have the pen is mightier? It looks like we've got 3 for each character. Because each character sheet provided for each character has a spare, has 3 of them. Can't remember where I read about it. I spotted the grammatical. I believe it is an intentional grammatical error. I can't see where the rules for the pen is mightier are. I must be very stupid. Clearly very, very stupid. But I'm going to assume it's 3 for each character because each character sheet has 3 of them. Right, we are even now. So we have 4 yeses, 4 nos, and we're going to assume that each character gets 3 chances. Does anyone want to change their votes? We need to break a tie. No. Perception checks are the bane of D&D. I walk into the room. I want to make a perception check. What do I see? No, that's not what you do. Okay, so we have a yes from Derek. Flip a coin, yeah. When I've run 5th edition, I've basically said to my players in my most recent group, I mean, I haven't run it, I'm not going to run it again, but when I last ran it, I said, don't even ask to make perception checks. I will keep a note of your passive perceptions and I will be making rolls against them and I will tell you what you see based on those rolls. But you won't see the result, you won't see the rolls. In fact, you won't even know I'm making them when I'm making them. Exactly, Mage. That's another way of doing it. Anyhow, no chuntering. Chunter. So we're going to use it. The pen is mightier. Cost of 1 use and turn to 618. As I said, if I do resume my 5th edition game for my local group, I'm going to switch all the characters to 2nd edition. Maybe first, one or the other, whichever they choose. It doesn't matter which, as long as it's what is to me a smooth a system I'm happier with. You are suddenly aware of the presence of the Count as you are cast backwards to the corner of the room by the force of the furious storm that announces his arrival. The Count has turned up. Dracula grasps the slender neck of the succubus in his steely grip. His eyes are transformed with fury, as if the flames of hellfire burn behind them. His teeth champ with rage, and his pallid cheeks flush red with passion. Never before have you imagined such wrath, even of the demons of the pit. With a fierce sweep of his arm, he hurls the woman from him, before driving back the other 2 back as well. In a voice which, although almost a whisper, seems to cut through the air and ring from the cold stone of the chamber, he declares, "How dare you touch him, any of you? How dare you cast eyes on him when I had forbidden it? This man belongs to me. Beware how you meddle with him, or you'll have to deal with me." Climbing like a spider into the shadows that hang about the dome of the chamber like cobwebs, the succubus turns and answers him with the words, "You yourself never loved. You never love." A mirthless, soulless laughter rings through the room from the foul fiends, and it makes you feel faint to hear it. "Yes, I too can love," the Count replies. "You yourselves can tell it from the past. Is it not so?" And then his voice takes on a guttural growl. "I promise that when I am done with him, you shall kiss him at your will. Now go." "Are we to have nothing tonight?" one of the unnatural women says, pointing at a bag on the floor that was not there before Dracula's arrival. The bag suddenly moves as if there is some living being within it. The Count says nothing but merely nods. One of the women pounces on the bag. Then, tearing it open, you quite clearly hear a gasp, followed by a low wail, as of a half-smothered child. The other women gather around the bag, muttering almost motherly, soothing sounds, but which sound to you like the purrs of hunting felines. Add 2 to your terror score. Lovely. Lovely, isn't it? And then, aghast with the horror of it all, you mercifully pass out. Turn to 709. It's a journal entry, which means we do something with the mechanics. What do we recover? That was the pen. That was the one that saved us, yes. Okay. We've had a rest, that means, so we recover 4 of our lost endurance points. Ah, is it now? Right. Okay. Not read the novel. I haven't read very much. Not very good, am I? Jonathan Harker's journal, 19th of May. I awoke in my own bed. The Count must have carried me here. As I look round this room, although it has been to me so full of fear, it is now a sort of sanctuary, for nothing can be more dreadful than those awful women who are waiting to suck my blood. As you try to piece together your memories of what happened last night, you realize that your host is also now your savior. However, he knows that you went against his wishes by exploring the women's wing of the castle. Any weapons you may have collected and are gone. We haven't got any weapons. At nightfall, the Count visits you in your rooms again and asks you to write 3 more letters. One saying that your work is almost done and that you will start for home again within a few days. Another saying that you're setting out the morning after the date the letter is sent. The third saying that you've left the castle and are back in Bistritz. The first should be dated June the 12th, he instructs you. The second, June the 19th. And the third, June the 29th. Posts are few and uncertain, Mr. Harker, he goes on, as if by way of explanation, even though you know it's only an excuse. You writing these letters now will put the minds of your friends at ease. You know better than to try to resist him, and now you know how long you have left to live. You can only hope that something may occur within the next month that will provide you with a chance to escape. It is almost 10 days before such an opportunity presents itself, or at any rate, being able to send word home. A band of Sagani arrives at the castle and sets up camp within the courtyard. They are gypsies, peculiar to this part of the world. You have read in the Count's library that they attach themselves to some great noble, or boyar, and call themselves by his name. They are fearless and without religion, save superstition, and they speak their own variety of the Romany tongue, but their loyalty is without question. Perhaps you could write some letters home and try to get the Sagani to have them posted. Alternatively, you could wait to see if a proper chance to escape presents itself. But then, fearing that you don't have long left to live, you could try and take on the Count directly by ambushing the next time he comes to visit you in your chambers. Okay, there's our 3 options. Write letters and ask the Sagani to post them. Wait and see if the proper chance to escape presents itself. Or try to ambush the Count. So, letters, wait, or ambush. Those are your choices, chat. "20 more minutes of the stream. 20 more minutes. We'll go until 1:45. Letters, wait. Letters seems to be leading at the moment. Letters? Oh, yeah. Dear. Any more votes? Mostly letters so far. Letters, 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 more letters. Okay. 738. You write one letter to Mina in shorthand, explaining your situation, but without mention of the horrors you have been forced to endure. It would frighten her to death if you were to expose your heart to her. One to Mr. Hawkins, simply asking him to communicate with your fiancée. Letters sealed, you let them drop through the bars of your window, along with a gold sovereign to the courtyard below, using such sign language as you can to communicate with the gypsy folk that you wish to have them posted. The man who picks them up presses them to his heart and bows, putting them inside his cap for safekeeping. You can do no more. And so steal back to the library to read. That evening after nightfall, the Count comes to your rooms. He has a pair of letters with him. Sitting down beside you, he says in his smoothest voice, "The Sagani have given me these, of which, though I know not whence they come, I shall, of course, take care." As he begins to open the letters, your pulse quickens. See, one is from you, and to my friend, Mr. Hawkins. The other? He catches sight of the strange shorthand symbols as he opens the envelope, and a dark look comes upon him, his eyes blazing wickedly. It's a vile thing, an outrage upon friendship and hospitality. It is not signed, so it cannot matter to us. He calmly holds both letter and envelope in the flame of the lamp till they are consumed. The letter to Hawkins that I shall, of course, send on, since it is yours, and your letters are sacred to me. With that he leaves, and you hear the key turn softly in the lock. It seems you have no choice now but to wait, for you know that to try to charge the heavy oak door will be to break yourself rather than the ancient lock, and you hope that you are not merely waiting for death. Add 1 point to your terror score, up to 18 now, and gain 2 blood points. Okay. Have you worked on a film adaptation, Jeb? Be a cool job if you have. Almost another 3 weeks pass before an appropriate opportunity presents itself. On the morning of the 17th of June, as you are sitting on the edge of your bed, cudgelling your brains, you hear the cracking of whips and the pounding and scraping of horses' hooves coming up the rocky path beyond the courtyard. Hurrying to the window, you see 2 lighter wagons drive into the yard, each drawn by 8 sturdy horses, and at the head of each pair a Slovak with his wide hat, great nail-studded belt, dirty sheepskin, and high boots. You cry out to them, and they look up at you stupidly, pointing as they talk among themselves. But just then the hetman of the Sagani appears, and seeing them pointing to your window, says something at which they laugh and resolutely turn away. The wagons contain 8 square boxes with handles of thick rope. They're evidently empty, considering the ease with which the Slovaks maneuver them, and by their resonance, as they are roughly deposited within the courtyard. I mean, put off by an itchy nose. Once they've been all unloaded and stacked in a great heap in one corner of the yard, the Sagani pay the Slovaks, who leave. That night you hear the sound of mattock and spade echoing through the castle walls. The Sagani are quartered somewhere in the castle and are doing work of some kind for the Count. But then another sound makes you start. It is the low, piteous howling of dogs somewhere far below in the valley. A couple of sleepless hours pass, and you hear a sharp wail elsewhere in the castle, which is quickly suppressed. Then there is silence, an awful silence that chills you to the bone. You are reminded of the horror to which you were forced to bear witness the night you were attacked by the fiend-like women. And then you hear another sound, this time out in the courtyard. It is the agonized cry of a woman. Hello, brave Sir Gecko. So it lacked polish, Jeb. I think it's the best way to say it. The right idea was there, but the polish and probably the funds weren't. Do you want to go to the window to see what is going on out in the courtyard? Or would you prefer to stay where you are and not involve yourself in affairs that is not within your power to influence? So, go to the window or stay where you are. Up to you. I'm very sensible with my beer tonight. Just remind me that Mage needs to do another drinking stream soon. Maybe middle of the summer. Magey. But no. Just being sensible. Yes, I've heard all about Ed Wood. Yes. Back to the clash again, indeed. Everybody's saying window, apart from Jeb, who says avoid the window. Jeb, they're not listening to you. Jeb, do you feel helpless? Because that is how you're meant to feel in horror. Helpless. Okay, we're going to the window to see what's going on in the courtyard and why a woman is screaming. This won't end well, will it? I need to be wearing my Never Trust a Smiling Dungeon Master t-shirt for this. Peering between the bar and window, you see a woman with disheveled hair at the entrance to the courtyard. But when she sees your face at the window, she throws herself forward and shouts in a voice laden with menace, "Monster, give me my child!" Throwing herself onto her knees, raising up her hands in supplication, she makes the same desperate plea over and over, tearing her hair and beating her breast. She disappears from view, but you can hear the beating of her hands against the castle door. From somewhere high overhead, you fancy you hear the harsh, whispering voice of the Count, calling to the children of the night. And it is answered from far and wide by the howling of wolves. Before many minutes have passed, a pack of the wild animals pours through the archway into the courtyard. You see the woman try to run, but the wolves drag her down before she can reach the gate. You cannot tear your eyes away as the creatures tear her to shreds. Before long, the wolves stream away again, back to their forests, licking the ruddy gore from their muzzles. Nothing is left of the wretched peasant, save for a bloody smear on the cobbles of the courtyard. You are left shaken by what you have witnessed, but you do not pity the woman, for you know all too well her child's fate, and she's better off dead than having to live with that terrible knowledge. Another 2 points to our terror score. It's now 20. And deduct 1 point from our combat score. How will you ever escape from this dreadful, benighted place that gloom and fear have made their dwelling place? Shall we continue to wait for fate to play its hand, or shall we seize control of our fate and act now? Wait, or try and take control. Those are your choices, chat. Good luck. We are screwed if we take a terror check. Absolutely. Yeah, I fear if terror is the equivalent of sanity points, we've started off with a moderate amount of willpower, say about 55, 60 sanity points, and we've lost 20 so far. So we'd be making idea rolls aplenty around now. And of course, if we pass those idea rolls, good luck. One, two, three, four. Try to run away. Try to get the hell out of here. Wibble, 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 indeed. Any more votes? The opposite of whatever Jeb says. Okay, Jeb, make your decision, because Derek's going to do precisely the opposite. We do have one more pen, yes. One more pen. Vote, chat, vote. Remember, I am on a bit of a delay. There's about a 10-second delay. So get out. Jeb hasn't voted yet, so I don't know what Derek's vote is. It's the opposite. You take the pen. There's no option to take the pen. No option to take the pen. So we're going to try. We are going to try and take control of our fate. Right. Okay. What can we do? What can we do? You realize that you must take action, or other forces will see to it that you'll never leave Castle Dracula. And so you determine to search the Count's sepulchral stronghold once more, but this time during the hours of daylight, to find a way out no matter what. As the sun grows high in the sky the next morning and strikes the top of the great gateway opposite your window, your fear falls from you, as if it is a vaporous garment dissolved by the dawn. No man can know till he has suffered through the night how sweet and dear to his heart the morning can be. Deduct 1 point from our terror score. Woohoo, we're down to 19. You decide to take action while the courage of the day is upon you. Considering you have never seen the Count out and about by daylight, you are intrigued to know what secrets lie within the chamber from which he emerges to crawl down the castle wall at night. But there is only one sure way you know of to get there. Right. These are our choices. Climb out of the window and descend to the Count's chamber, down the wall, or try to find a way into his chambers from within the castle. So, inside or outside. Those are your choices for this vote. Outside being climb down the walls, inside poke around in the castle to try and find another way into his chamber. Hello, Wayne. Yeah, there's only 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes of the stream left. Blame it on laundry, yes. We're at 3-3 at the moment. Oh, 1-1. Oh, hang on. 4 for outside, 3 for inside. 5 for outside, 3 for inside. 5 for outside. Okay. We have decent agility. Agility of 9. If it's an agility check, indeed, it calls for. Climbing walls is winning, Straw Piglet. I'm afraid Friday nights is democratic on this channel. Okay, we're going to try and climb the walls. 163. While your courage is still fresh, you go to the window and ease through it onto the sill beyond. The stones are big and roughly cut, and time and the weather has washed the mortar from between them, providing with numerous hand and footholds. And so you begin your descent. Renfield is not one of the characters, I don't believe. The character options are John Seward, Jonathan Harker, Mina Murray, and you can play as the Count. Take an agility test. Right, chat. I'm going to give you an option here. I think this might be important. Red dice or green dice? Red dice or green dice for this agility check? Because if you pick one of them and they roll high, I can then blame you. Red dice or green dice? Two votes for red, 2 votes for green. 4 votes for green now. Green steams into the lead. Oh dear. Getting tired. For low, green. Okay, great. Luck of the Irish indeed, Daniel, with a name like that. Yep. So we're at green's winning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 votes for green now, and just 3 for red. Green dice. Here we go. 6. Success. Well done. 223. You look down only once, just to make sure that a sudden glimpse of the awful depth will not overcome you. But after that, you keep your gaze firmly from it. Having a fairly assured sense of the direction and distance to the Count's window, you make your way towards it as best you can. And then before you know it, you're slipping through the arched opening into the Count's secret chamber. Looking around, you are surprised to see by the morning light coming through the window that the room appears to have never been used. The furniture is of the same style as that in the women's wing and covered with dust as well. There are also chains and ornaments, some of them jeweled, but all antiques stained with the patina of age. In one corner of the room, you stumble upon a great heap of gold of all kinds. You uncover Roman, British, Austrian, Hungarian, Greek, and Turkish money among the hoard, all of it covered with a film of dust, and none of what you find is less than 300 years old. But you're not interested in stealing from the Count. You are here to learn the truth of what he is and what he is about. What you take to be the door that connects the chamber to the rest of the castle is locked, and there is no sign of a key. But at another corner of the room, there is another heavy door. This one is open and leads through a stone passage to a circular stairway, which goes steeply down. Descending, taking care where you tread, for it is dark here, the stairwell lit only by loopholes in the heavy masonry. At the bottom, you find yourself at one end of a tunnel-like passage, from which comes the odor of old earth, newly turned. You feel compelled to follow the passage, wherever it may lead. The mildew smell growing heavier until you enter an old ruined chapel that has evidently been used as the castle graveyard in the past. The roof is broken, and in 2 places you can see steps leading to vaults. But the ground has recently been dug over, and the mouldering earth placed into the wooden boxes brought to Castle Dracula by the Slovaks. There is no sign of the Sagani, who you take it have been the ones tasked with the work that has been undertaken here. Do we make a thorough search of the chapel, or do we feel as though we've seen enough and want to quit this place of death without further ado? Search the chapel or leave? Last vote for the night. Search the chapel or leave. And I will make a note of the number it takes us to, and that is where we will end it. So, last vote for the night. Search chapel or leave. No, you can't roll for perception, Derek. You passed your passive perception check to notice all the stuff in here, in all that description. So there you go. Search, search, leave. Search, 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 leave. Okay, so we will be searching. So next stream, next Friday, we will begin at entry 251. There we go. There we go. For those who aren't aware, while I was at Mr. Green's stall at the Games Expo, he was so nice and so happy and so cheery. I had to buy something, so I bought that. A game book version of Beowulf, which he has signed. Lovely. So we will play Beowulf at some point in the none too distant future. We'll play Beowulf when we die in Dracula. I believe Beowulf was the last book to feature Russ Nicholson art. I haven't done any homework finding and watching the 13th Warrior. No, because what have I done? That was Wednesday night when we're talking about that. What did I do last night? Oh, yes, I ran a Call of Cthulhu game. And what did I do today? I've been to work. And what did I do after work? Go to the prize giving at my daughter's football club. And what have I done since I got home from there? Read books for you lot. So I haven't had time yet. I've got Monday and Tuesday off work. So that'll be the earliest opportunity, I'm afraid. Anyway, thank you all for joining in the stream. We have peaked at 15 at closing time, sadly. Really nice. We'll go up to 16 just as I'm closing the stream down. Thank you all for popping in. Thank you all for contributing, and especially thank you to Hungar for giving out memberships and stuff. And just before we go, cheers, Daniel. Cheers, Daniel. No problem at all. In fact, it's a pleasure. I enjoy it. So it's all good. It's all good. And I hope you enjoy the game tomorrow. So if anyone wants to play OSE tomorrow, join the Discord channel. I did post the link further up the thread earlier, and sign up for a game of OSE starting 2 o'clock UK time and 7 o'clock UK time. Gingerbeard's running in the afternoon and I'm running in the evening. So until tomorrow, good night all. See you, chaps.